Oversteer. The biggest reason why many of us mutter, oh shit, when we're driving. It can hold you back because you're not sure when it will strike next. You're not knowing exactly why or how something happens. It makes it mysterious and scary. So, we're gonna learn how to spin on purpose, baby. This drill will be an increase in difficulty, so be sure to take breaks if you feel yourself getting frustrated. I'm Empire. Welcome to class. Let's load up the game. Alright, let's head into our assists and set up a few things. ABS is off. Let me roll back and explain this choice. Having ABS on will limit your ability to rotate the car during your turn, which is good and bad. It's good because it will stop you from locking up during heavy braking, and bad because it limits the amount of rotation you can possibly get. Still, overall, it's a net positive, so you should use it. But it hides your mistakes, and we're here to learn from those mistakes and have that immediate feedback. So, no ABS. If you're actually having a race though, turn it on. GT7 isn't the best at giving you tools to let you know when you're about to lose grip. Anyways, turn on the corner markers and switch to manual transmission. If you're not used to it, today, you're gonna learn, bro. Now, have you ever heard of the string theory? It's the idea that your foot is attached to a steering wheel by a string. When you brake at 80%, the steering wheel is straight. When you're braking at 1%, the steering wheel is completely turned. The exact angle differs between different types of cars, but we're going to focus on cars with a 90-degree wheel lock first. Take a few minutes going between straight and 90 degrees with your brake, correlating. When you're comfortable with doing this drill slow and steady, I want you to incorporate relaxing your shoulders, your arms, and your hands every time you brake. For the second warm up, you will have to make quick adjustments on the brake pedal, moving in 20% chunks while moving the steering wheel with the gentlest grip you can manage. The foot is snappy and the hands are loosey-goosey. If you have to assign a steering angle to brake percentage to make this work, it's alright. I'll even do it for you. You have 90 to 0, 67 to 20, 45 to 40, 22 to 60, 0 to 80. If you have to work on the steering wheel and the brake separately first, do that. Whatever it takes for you to get any of these concepts is fine. If you want to share some ideas down in the comments, I would love to hear them. GT7 physics makes cars weirdly understeery, especially after the latest patch. That makes it extremely hard to almost impossible to oversteer on entry with many cars, especially if they're on racing compounds. But fortunately, this won't stop us. The goal here is to force the car to spin, and it'll be stupid easy. Now think back to the three tools of rotation. You have steering, engine brake, and the regular brakes. The braking acts as an amplifier to what the steering angle you have. So in theory, your rotation should continue until disaster happens if you hold on to the brakes too long. Let's try it out. I want your threshold brake 80%, downshifting as fast as possible down to first gear. When it's time to turn in, hold the brakes down at 50% and aim to have the car perpendicular to the wall before you crash. Now try this a few times and notice how your steering wheel jerks around, trying to communicate in its own primitive language. Now we understand how to induce oversteer and what the extremes look and feel like. Let's learn how to rein it in and use it in a beneficial way. Your focus for this drill should be on these few key things. The grip being light and applying the minimum required pressure to turn the steering wheel without forcing the car into understeer. You would be shocked how the steering angle is necessary to get the car to rotate. If your steering pulls to the right, let it. The car wants to communicate with you. that it wants to countersteer. Physics is much faster than your reaction speed, and it can save you from an uncontrollable oversteer. This is the perfect time to experiment with how much turning pressure you actually need to ride the line between the tire's limit and understeer. If you pay attention, you can feel the transition when your wheel is heavy and when it briefly goes light before the front starts sliding. That sensation is something you want to be chasing after since it's a moving target. You're aiming to fish for that grip with small movements as you go into the corner. The faster you're going, the earlier that transition happens. And when you're going slower, your steering angle is higher before you start scrubbing your tires. Remember, as your steering angle goes up, your brakes go down. Listen to your engine and keep your RPMs high as you downshift. Not so fast that the rev limiter is banging all the way to the apex. It's a terrible habit, and any other sim besides GT7 will punish you for it. Also, rushing your downshifts can make you accidentally hit first gear before the car is slow enough for it, and you could spin. Now for the second drill, we're going to refine how we use the brakes, going from a linear brake pattern to an organic application. We're going to use the brakes to control the car's angle as it slips towards the apex. And again, intentionally oversteer the car, but this time try to nail down the feeling when the car reaches a point of uncontrollable oversteer. The car will try to save itself right before that point by passively countersteering. When you have that feeling pinned down for your next attempt, I want you to drop your brakes from 80 to 50 and then note how that can slow your rotation. When the car is about to reach the uncontrollable threshold again, drop the brakes completely. This happens all within a few seconds, so don't be discouraged if you don't get it right away. I want you to focus on having your hands delivering light inputs and feeling what the force feedback is doing. This last step involves smoothing out your brake release. Starting at 80% brake pressure, you cut them down to 60, then to 40, and to 20. You'll be dancing with the brakes to keep the car at the perfect angle where all four tires are squealing. Now, GT7 has notoriously narrow slip angle, the point where all four tires are equally on the limit. But when you can hit it, you'll be chasing that high for a really long time, man.
I'll see you all next time.